Major political battles are heating up across the country today, and voters are already heading to the polls. I'm Vanessa Broussard. Thanks so much for being here with us this morning. Here are some big races we are following today. Starting in Kentucky, the race involving Congressman Thomas Massie has become one of the biggest Republican primaries in the country and also a major test of President Trump's influence inside the GOP. Massie is facing a serious primary challenge from Trump-backed former Navy SEAL Ed Galbraith in Kentucky's 4th congressional district. The primary is today, and polling shows the race is extremely close. So make note in this race that Massie has opposed Trump on major issues, including spending bills, foreign policy, and the Epstein files. MAGA is urging Kentucky Republicans to remove Massie. Pete Hegseth has campaigned for Galbraith in recent days as well. It's a close race, and we'll be watching closely for results tonight as they come in. Another big race we're watching today, the Georgia governor's race. Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones has been endorsed by President Trump. He's emerging as one of the leading Republican contenders in the race to replace term-limited Governor Brian Kemp. Jones is campaigning on a strong conservative America First message. Attorney General Chris Carr and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger are also on the ballot in this race. To Texas now, early voting is underway there. Senator John Cornyn running against Attorney General Ken Paxton. No endorsement yet from President Trump in this race. Ken Paxton right now leading in the polls. And when it comes to Attorney General, it's Senator Chip Roy against Mays Middleton. Now remember, Chip Roy was critical of President Trump during January 6th. So that's another big race in Texas that we're watching. Two big races there in the Lone Star State. But for today, Alabama, Georgia, Idaho, Kentucky, Oregon, and Pennsylvania have primaries. 6 states. Go vote, and we'll have the results tonight online. A big meeting today in Minnesota regarding protecting the polls. Mike Lindell's campaign manager, Rick Weibel, joining us today. Rick, good to see you. Good to have you on. Always love when you come on to give us an update of what's going on there in the great state of Minnesota. But today, a big day for Sherburne County. Commissioners are meeting this morning. What safeguards are being requested?
Oh, this is absolutely amazing. So before on your show, we talked about the chaos during the absentee balloting process. Here is the video of some of the Somali immigrants who are coming in to basically vote. And here's the teacher creating chaos and also looking at people's ballots. He's not an official interpreter hired by the county in any fashion. And then we have the enforcer there that you see touching election materials. And this just raises all sorts of questions as to the order and the chaos that you see in this segment of the video. And here the teacher is involved in all aspects of the voting process. So we are looking at the state statute, and Matt Benda, one of the attorneys in Minnesota, did the research through the statutes and found out that they could actually ask for a sergeant at arms to be here to safeguard the election and to help keep an orderly process and to help with the flow of the voters to ensure that only voters are looking at their own individual ballots. And if they need help from an interpreter, they could help shepherd that in. And so in less than an hour in Sherburne County, there is a couple of great groups that are going in of citizens that are looking to appeal with a resolution to the county commissioners to have them implement the process of a sergeant at arms to help create a peaceful environment during the voting process so that we don't have people sitting there waiting in line and not in line, sitting around and even potentially preventing, like this video showed last time, one voter who voted twice within a 45-minute period of time. And so this is where we need to help safeguard our elections, create that orderly process to make sure mistakes or fraud do not happen during our election process. And so seeing people sitting there waiting at the tables there, are they trying to turn in ballots? Are they waiting in line? It is not organized. And so we need to make sure that we have a peaceful time for our elections and that voters are able to conduct their voting process without any question, without any hesitation, delays, or any type of interference or confusion. And so right now we see confusion here as to what are these people doing in these chairs? Are they waiting for somebody? What's the next action? And so by getting these sergeant at arms, which is provided for in Minnesota statute, I think will help Sherburne County and other counties help create order during the absentee process. Because in Minnesota, absentee balloting is just increasing exponentially, including mail-in permanent absentee. And we're going to have another story from another person who's been doing some research on people who have moved out of the state, but they're still registered in Minnesota. So are those absentee ballots going to arrive there during the primary and general elections, even those people have left the state? Stay tuned on that story.
Can't wait. And I know you'll break it for us right here on LINDELLTV. Our election system is so broken. And, I'll look at this video again. I know we aired it before here on the broadcast. And so I want to show viewers that again today because there is a meeting today in Sherburne County regarding this and safeguarding the elections moving forward. Any idea yet on how these commissioners may vote today?
I have a feeling that common sense is going to reign, and the commissioners, I hope by default, will want to help protect these voters that are coming in because there's all sorts of questions. Are these voters being pressured? Do they understand what they're voting for? And especially when the teacher was caught on this video actually filling out some of the ballots, that can help prevent that. And he has no role in actually taking any pen to a ballot and filling it out. The other thing, just so that everybody is clear, the teacher is not a registered voter in Minnesota whatsoever. So he has no right to fill out any ballot during this time. And so this is where we need to create that orderly process to make sure that everyone here in that room is being helped and that their turn is actually correct so that they can interface with the county workers to make sure that they're registered, to make sure their absentee application is filled out correctly, that their ballot is turned in, and to make sure that the envelope that all of that material is supposed to go into is properly sealed and received by the county. And so when we see that type of chaos, it is really disrespectful of the county workers who are working hard. And so I believe common sense will reign with the commissioners and they will want to protect their county workers and the voters in the end.
And one thing that caught my eye as well, and I believe we talked about that the last time that you were here on the show, Rick, is that not only is it the teacher here, but it's also the workers behind the desk there where people are, it looks like they're bringing their ballots. They're fiddling and handling these ballots as well. Has anything come about this, the teacher or those workers, since this first came to light?
Well, it's been a long process. And unfortunately, the teacher, even though there was evidence of the double vote by the lady, there's evidence right there in the video of him filling out ballots. No, the county, um, how do I want to say this? The county attorney did not faithfully press charges, and Ellison also came into this as well. And so there were no real charges on this other than the teacher presenting a false ID. And that's all that's come of this. And it's really disappointing. We have sent this information over to the Department of Justice for further review because there are a number of crimes in the overall video, but also in the 384-page police report that the county sheriff did a great job on the investigation outlining all of the misgivings. And I want to give credit to the county employee that raised the alarm regarding the double voting by the lady as well. And so the workers did everything right. The sheriff's department did everything right, but our judicial system completely failed us in Minnesota. And that's where the alarm has to come in. And so elections have consequences. And when your top law enforcement, Keith Ellison, doesn't protect the elections, there's something going on here. And so this is just one more element of fraud in Minnesota that we have to be on the safeguard for. And so this is where the great work of Matt Benda going in and looking at something in statute that can be utilized right now as a turnkey solution that hopefully the Sherburne County commissioners will implement and kind of show the path for other election officials in counties to basically implement. Because where this happened in St. Cloud, 3 counties are involved in that. And this teacher basically went to 3 different counties to help voters vote, in essence, is the nicest way I can say it.
Do we expect a result or a vote today from the commissioners?
No, I think this is an informational meeting at this point because it's going to be in the public comments where the information will be brought forward. At their next county commissioner meeting, I am hopeful that it will be on the agenda so that they can faithfully discuss it. And then when the voters in Sherburne County hear the discussion today, they will demand that the county commissioners put it on the agenda and then hopefully faithfully adopt the resolution at the next county commission meeting. I believe it's in about let's see here, it would be the first, it being about 2 weeks. So right after the Memorial weekend.
So I know we're working on elections. We're also watching the fraud there in Minnesota. It is, really taken off. It's come to light. And when it comes to the fraud being exposed all across the country, Minnesota was the state. Nick Shirley, the independent journalist, he went there first and he uncovered millions and millions, if not billions of dollars in fraud from the Somalis. That has to be the talk of every town there in Minnesota. Mike Lindell actually went on a broadcast, did an interview recently talking about the fraud. Let's take a quick listen to what he had to say.
Also top of mind, fraud. When asked how Minnesota landed in national headlines.
Corrupt politicians. I'll say it straight out. I think that in Minnesota, there is so much wasted, frivolous money. I've got to look at this like a business, like I do with.
Yeah, you have to look at it like a business. And there in Minnesota, they're not running their business properly. A lot of fraud going on. Rick, how does this go on under Governor Walz's watch? And he just doesn't know. He says he doesn't know and did not know that this was going on.
That's an absolute lie. He absolutely knows it. You know it. I know it. The public knows it. We're not buying it. And it's really disappointing that the legislature, basically with the Democrats having kind of this deadlock of a tie between the Senate and the House in Minnesota, and the legislature just concluded yesterday with their little celebratory retirements and everything else. But they've really shivved Minnesotans. And Minnesotans should be just absolutely disappointed in Walz, the AG, Ellison, also, of course, the Democrats who didn't want to really do anything to protect against fraud. Sure, they threw you a bone and they actually passed legislation for a new Office of Inspector General. But here's the joke of it all. The Office of Inspector General does not go into effect until January 2027. And the enforcement action part of it doesn't go into effect until 2028. So they literally wrote into statute, hey, Democrats, if you lose power through the November election, go ahead in December and burn all of the records before January comes. So that way the Office of Inspector General, when they ask for records, you can claim that there are no records responsive to your request. That's what I really see happening there. And another point of fraud, and this is absolutely unbelievable. So if we remember, Melissa Hortman was assassinated for blocking the illegal immigrants from healthcare in Minnesota. However, Hennepin County Medical Center, Hennepin County is the largest county in Minnesota, HCMC gets a bailout of $205 million to basically get them out of debt because of the healthcare services that they were providing through their emergency rooms to illegal immigrants. Then to top it all off, I kid you not, the legislature actually created another pool of potential fraud of $500 million so that way hospitals can then do a future request to pay down their debts for the fraud being committed by illegal immigrants doing this end around where they're not supposed to have healthcare services, but we're giving it through emergency services. And so this potential lack of oversight of the $500 million is an earmark for future fraud. It is just absolutely disgusting, and Minnesotans should be absolutely pissed. And even with the high property taxes, high everything else that's going on, they played a little gimmick to throw a bone to basically Minnesotans to say, we'll give you a 1-year reprieve of the high cost of license tabs in Minnesota, and we're not going to cut it permanently. We're just going to give it to you for 2027, and then in 2028, it reverts back to the high cost. That's not real leadership. So you you throw the Minnesotans over a barrel by now taking Hennepin County's mistake and spreading that across the entire state, and then throwing an additional $500 million out there that we're on the hook for, and then you give them just a little pittance, to say, here you go. So this is really disappointing. And so Speaker DeMuth, who's running for governor, has really kind of laid a path where I've got to believe delegates coming up on May 29th through the 30th, as they carefully consider who they want as a leader. Do you want somebody that's been fighting fraud in elections, who understands deviations? And when you read Mike Lindell's book, you can clearly see he is definitely a fighter, and especially with all the attacks that he's had personally through the state of Minnesota and federally, this guy is a fighter. And you look at Lisa DeMuth and her compromise with the Democrats to actually get no real accountability. I'm sorry. When we look at the record, we see that Tina Peters is about to be freed in June, and we see that Sidney Powell is also being vindicated, and we see that Rudy Giuliani is being vindicated with some of the late-breaking stories of last week. Mike was right. Lisa DeMuth is a fake. And so and I hate to say it that way, it's not good for politics, but the reality is, I think we have a clear choice. We see the record of Lisa DeMuth and her compromise, but we also see the record of Mike Lindell and his creativity to establish a network like this, where he's one of the few networks that actually has reporters in the White House, in the press conference, and also in the Pentagon. And so to have that high bar sitting here with the quality talent like yourself and other great reporters out there, we can clearly see where Mike would go. And he has a loud voice. He will find the fraud. He will stop it. And whereas Lisa had a chance, she was in power, and she didn't stop it.
Right. You're absolutely right, because this is all under her watch as well. We only have a couple of minutes left, Rick. I want to talk about, you mentioned the retirements from legislature. Let's take a quick look at who is announcing their retirements. If we want to scroll down, that's a long list there. What can you tell us?
This is a long list, and it's also kind of heartbreaking, because there's quite a few people here that I've spoken to, and unfortunately, a lot of the Republicans are leaving because they're so frustrated with what's going on. One of the legislators is actually leaving the state and going to Montana. Another legislator, she ran for governor, Kristen Robbins. She's the head of the audit committee, and we're losing her talent out of the legislature as well, and her voice. I really hope, and she was running for governor, and she sunsetted her campaign. And so Minnesota is losing a lot of good talent on the Republican side. And so that's really disappointing to see that. But I'm hoping some of the young guns that will be running in their places, hopefully these legislators will basically help mentor them and kind of hand over some of the state secrets of, here's where the fraud is. We need you to go attack these vectors. And it kind of breaks my heart, but there's also kind of a new opportunity with the August 11th primaries. Hopefully there will be some young guns that are able to emerge from the Republican Party that are more conservative and want to have accountability. And so I guess that part of the morning sunrise and the sun rays of hope give us that opportunity. So hopefully the former legislators are about to retire will hopefully mentor the new ones that are coming in. So I don't want to be in complete despair, but this usually shows a huge sign of frustration. Even some of the Democrats that are resigning as well. I've got to believe some of the reason why they're done with it is it's too much political. There wasn't accountability, and they don't want their name stained with this and continuing going forward. And so that's what I believe in my heart, and hopefully that's the truth. We'll find out over time. And stay tuned. And this is where people out there, those of you that have primary elections today, please go out and vote. There are a lot of great senators and congressmen and women who are candidates who are potentially running, and you need to do your due diligence. This fraud, even J.D. Vance mentioned over the weekend interviews that this fraud nationwide could be over $1 trillion. So if we think about that, is how much of that is part of our national debt because of fraud?
Absolutely.
We don't deserve this.
No, We do not. And so hopefully we can get a handle on it. You know, Rick, I'm asked almost daily how Mike Lindell is doing in his campaign. So I want to update our viewers right now. This is a straw poll that was just out showing Mike in a big lead here, a strong lead. Real quick, can you break this down for us?
Yeah, this is a huge turn. So quite a number of straw polls done throughout Minnesota. Mike would be kind of in that top three range, and now all of a sudden we see this shift right on May 14th, right before the legislative session ends. And so some of the stuff that Lisa had done is now locked in to law, and so every bill that Tim Walz has signed, she has voted for. And so this is absolutely stunning. There's been no veto overrides or anything like that. And so what we're seeing is that delegates are now seeing the record of Lisa DeMuth, and they're seeing the hope that Mike Lindell is bringing, and that is creating clear separation. And so that is not a deviation. That is a trend that we were anticipating and hoping that would come to fruition. And here we see it right away in Becker County. And we're starting to see this now more and more. And we're doing a little bit of a test right now. And I hope to have news towards the end of the week that will point additional directions that are in Mike's favor.
Sounds good. Love to hear it. I want everyone to direct their attention to MikeLindellGov.com. There you can find the events he has coming up. I know we have a lot going on this month, Rick, with campaign
We do.
stops. I know he's been, yes, and he also has the Minnesota State Convention as well at the end of the month.
Yeah, so we have a lot of virtual rallies that we're conducting to make it easier for voters. Some of them are during the day, kind of like a lunch and learn, and then we have some in the evening as well. And so more are going to be popping up right before the convention. And so we're doing Zoom conference calls for the delegates and alternates, and some of the public is also invited as well. And so as soon as the convention concludes, and we're really hopeful that on May 30th, that's when the governor candidates will be selected, potentially if the schedule doesn't change. And hopefully Mike will come out victorious and be endorsed. If he's not endorsed, we're still going to be running for the primary on August 11th. And so either way, there will be a lot of events that you'll be able to see Mike throughout the state. And there will also be additional Zoom calls that you'll be able to connect with Mike. And he's taking serious questions from the public. And yesterday he was asked, what are the top three things that you're looking at? And his reply was basically, look, we are going to bring back the Minnesota state flag. We're going to ban Sharia law, and we're going to find that satanic statue, and we're going to get it out of the Capitol. And so,
Absolutely.
and people just absolutely celebrate that. And he is absolutely willing to go after the fraud, and he's going to do it on day one. He's going to find great, talented commissioners, and we're already starting that interview process for lieutenant governor as well as the commissioners. And so we will have, and so the filing deadline is June 2nd, and that's when the deadline is that we'll have a lieutenant governor selected for the ticket so that they can be printed on the ballot with the great Mike Lindell. Please support us at MikeLindellGov.com and anything you can do. And please absolutely pray for our campaign and the team.
We do every single day. Rick Weibel with Mike Lindell's campaign. Always a pleasure to have you. Thanks for updating us on what's going on in Minnesota. And again, a big day in Sherburne County. We'll keep our viewers updated. And you're promising more news coming out hopefully this week. So we'll keep our viewers updated on that as well. Rick, good to see you. Good morning to you. Have
Likewise.
a great day. Tell Mike Lindell we all said hello.
You bet. Thank you. Stay awesome, everybody.
To California now. We've been following Spencer Pratt for LA mayor. Spencer is a victim, as you know, of the Palisades fire. He lost his house along with thousands of others because the mayor didn't have water in the hydrants. So the city burned and burned and burned to the ground. Spencer and his family have since been living in a trailer and at various hotel rooms. Well, TMZ and liberals are having a fit because he has an ad saying he lives in a trailer now. But he also spends some nights at the Bel Air Hotel, which is pretty ritzy. Here's that interview on TMZ Watch.
You did draw this visual comparison of where the mayor lives, where Nithya Raman lives, and where you live. So you're showing where they live, and then you're saying, this is where I live. Everyone saw that ad and thought, wow, Spencer Pratt has to live in that trailer. because his
I
house
do.
burned down.
I do, sir.
But
that
then
is my house.
But
that
for
is
the
my
last
house.
month and a half, you've been at the Bel Air Hotel.
I haven't been at the Bel Air Hotel for more than 6 days in the last month. This is all public
Right,
on my things.
but that's where you've been staying. I know you may not have actually been in it.
No, I've been in Santa Barbara, where the LA Times reported where I lived and doxed me. That is where I live, period. This is LA Times. This isn't breaking news. Even when the Airstream ad came out, the LA Times cover story is saying, no, Spencer Pratt lives in Santa Barbara. And I said, yes, thank you for doxing me. I tried to sue the LA Times for saying where I actually live.
But but are you saying you live in that trailer?
I don't live anywhere, is what I'm saying. I don't have a house. They burned it down, Harvey. I don't have a house.
But why not say that? But Spencer, that would be
you-
really effective. Why not say that in the ad? I don't have a home.
You texted me today. I have never told anyone I lived in it. And yet in the ad you say, this is where
I live. This is my house. This is my property. There's nothing there, Harvey. It's dirt lot. I had to have it craned in to the lot. That's what people are. This is psycho. I only got on this live because I love you. But so last time I'm going to talk about this, because the reason I am running is because they burned down 7,000 houses. This is where everyone lives. They don't not consider that their home just because it's a dirt lot, because it's an Airstream, a teepee, a tent. When you're a fire victim, this is where you live. They burn it down. This is where I always will live. People are missing the messaging of the consequences.
But Spencer, listen, I've known you for a long time.
Yes.
And you're a really smart guy. And you are all over these ads, which have been, honestly, they've been lauded by people who have said these are, brilliant ads. Wasn't the point there, and I believe the trailer door was even open, wasn't the point to telegraph to people that your body went inside that trailer night after night?
Right.
I mean, wasn't that the point of the ad?
No, the point of the ad is to show this is where they burned my house down. I have no house. This is their houses. They're fine. And this is where I live. This is where my town lives. This is our reality for the next 10 years, if we're lucky. That'll be there for the next 6 years. And I'll say, I live there. I live in the Palisades. I'm a registered voter to that address. I'm an Angelino. Even if my family and kids have to now go to school in Santa Barbara, I am an Angelino. This is my town. This is where they burned me down.
Don't you just love fake news media? They find fault with everything. The man is a victim of the bad leadership of Los Angeles and the state, and so they want to troll him. But he is not to be trolled. He trolled the media instead. Spencer released this banger ad yesterday. Watch.
Now this is a story all about how my life got flipped, turned upside down, and I had to take a minute to run for mayor. I'll tell you how I became the prince of a town called Bel Air. In West Los Angeles, Palisades, in my backyard is where I spend most of my days, feeding hummingbirds, relaxing all cool, avoiding all the bums outside of the school. When a couple politicians who were up to no good started making trouble in my neighborhood, I got in one little fire. My mom got scared and said, "You're moving in with Harvey Levin in Bel Air." I pulled out from my lot about 7 or 8, and I yelled to the rubble, "Yo ho, smell you later." I moved to my kingdom. I was finally there to sit on my throne as the Prince of Bel Air.
Don't you love it? Spencer doesn't have a house. His house burned down. He is registered to the house location in the Palisades, but yet he's living in a trailer in a hotel and just about anywhere he can find a bed. Thousands of people are. Spencer is surging in the polls. His name and his message, they're both taking off. He has a really good chance of winning the seat for LA mayor. On the ballot for California governor is Pastor Shay On. He's joining us today. Shay, good to have you on the show. Let's talk about California. I've never lost hope in the state. On the campaign trail, ran into a lot of people from the state, a lot of Republicans, and said, LA doesn't define us. San Diego doesn't define us. Governor Gavin Newsom doesn't define us. And I feel like if there's any time for California to be saved, now is the time. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. In 2024, President Trump won 41% of Californians, and he didn't have one campaign meeting in California. So something's going on here. We had 10 counties that went red. And so I think people are fed up with the 30 years of Democratic rule. And we were number one in every category as far as test scores in schools. Now we're 48 out of 50. We are the fifth richest economy. I mean, think about it. If we were a nation, we'd be the fifth richest, and yet 22% are living in poverty. And so I think people are fed up. We have had 1.5 million leave the last 2 years. It's not affordable anymore. We pay the highest taxes, highest gas prices. But people know that the problem in California, all the candidates, there's 60 people running for governor. And I feel for the first time we do have a chance with a Republican winning. But the reason why I'm running, first of all, is to make a prophetic stand because I'm the only among the top three. I'm number three in the polls with Republicans behind Steve Hilton, Chad Bianco. But I'm the only one that's pro-life, pro-marriage between a man and a woman, pro-religious freedom, because I sued Governor Newsom in 2020 for the lockdown. And it was our church that went all the way to the Supreme Court. And I took a stand back there and we won 6-3. And the reason why I'm running is because the problem in California is not political. Just having a good politician, they can make a difference, yes. But the real problem, I think, is systemic, and we need spiritual revival in California. We need an awakening. And I believe with the rededication of America just this past Sunday on May 17th with President Trump is a sign that there is a spiritual awakening taking place. And so my goal and my objective is to see transformation in California through really God's mercy, God's grace. And as a pastor of 46 years, I'm mobilizing 1 million people to pray for California. So if you go to my website, j4ca.com, I'm asking people to sign up to pray for California, but also to be activists to get people to register and vote because it's very sad. We have 12 million evangelical Christians in California. 6 million are not even registered. And the 6 million that are registered, 3 million will not show up because they're so discouraged. They say, what's the use? Because 80% of California's vote left. And we're talking about only 25% are registered Republicans, 75% are Democrats or independent. But I do feel something is shifting here with Spencer Pratt. That's indicative of where even the city of Los Angeles, which is very difficult to win as a Republican, there is momentum with him, and I think it's a sign of what's to come.
I hope so. You look at the streets of California, homeless population. You look at the drugs that are taking over the streets. There's this newer zombie drug that a lot of people are taking, meth. Karen Bass just came out and said she wants to use taxpayer dollars to buy these meth addicts new teeth. So they can get back on their feet and find a job and have brand new teeth. But no, Karen, we have to get these people off drugs first. They're not worried about new teeth. They're worried about, finding the next baggie of meth that they can get on the street. So we have to clean up the streets of LA and the streets of all the cities that this is going on in California. Look, I love the state. I used to go there at least once or twice a year. But I've had a hard time going back, Shay, because of the leadership. I love the people there. I love the weather there. Everything's beautiful in California, right? It's always a beautiful day in California. But look at the streets. I don't want to bring my family past this every day. And so you have people like yourself and you have people like Spencer Pratt who are running to say, look, the people of California can't be okay with this.
No, I mean, it's ridiculous. As we have the nation's 185,000 homeless, we have almost half of the nation's homeless in Los Angeles. And not only that, but we passed a bill 11 years ago called Proposition 47, which made a felony into a misdemeanor. And all of a sudden, the jails were released, the prisons were released with drug pushers. That was a felony, but because it was retroactive to them, they got released. And now these drug pushers are out and on the streets dealing again. And we're talking about these are people that should be incarcerated. Now, the problem with Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom, they really don't want the homeless problem to go away. They spend $5 billion a year and $24 billion the last 5 years. But the problem is that they have their cronies in bureaucratic positions that are making $400,000 a year in salary, and they don't want the problem to go away because they lose their job. And so it is a mess. There's so much corruption behind here. We did an audit of Los Angeles homeless with 2.5 billion is unaccounted for. They cannot find. There's no contract with nonprofit organizations. There's no receipt of services rendered. And so we have a real problem with major corruption. So what she's doing is putting a Band-Aid on a cancer wound. And so we have to deal with the root issue. And the root issue, once again, is spiritual. Because I used to be a drug addict, and I gave my life to Jesus Christ at the age of 17. And by God's grace, in one day, I got delivered from drug addiction. Now, we were in revival called the Jesus Revolution, and a lot of my friends who were mainline heroin junkies got delivered the same way. But what I'm saying is that there are ministries with nonprofit organizations that preach the gospel, but we're not allowed to help the homeless because of this separation of church and state. They will not give money to these nonprofit organizations. I think of Dream Center with my good friend Matthew Barnett. They have 80% recovery rate. These are people that they've reached out to the homeless. They get them saved. They give them job training because they need skills to go back into society. And they're doing a holistic job, a phenomenal job. And the data shows a high rate of transformation. And yet they don't get a single cent from the government because of this lack of again, religious freedom, supporting Christian ministries. And so I want to change all that when I'm governor because I know what works. The gospel is the answer, the good news that Jesus died for our sins, he rose again, he shed his blood for us, and those who believe in him can be transformed like I was transformed 53 years ago.
You're absolutely right. And, there's a lot of fraud too going on in California. We talked about Minnesota earlier with Rick Weibel, but Nick Shirley, the independent journalist, he uncovered a lot going on in California as well. I know the Trump administration is there looking into that, saying it is in the billions when it comes to this Medicare daycare fraud going on there. There's some video of Nick Shirley when he went to investigate in the great state of California. So hopefully between people like yourself, between Spencer Pratt and so many others who are stepping up to the plate to save that beautiful state, hopefully things will change there. And again, like I said earlier, Shay, if there's any time, now's the time because California is too good to be run by these liberals who are destroying the state. One more time, give us your website for people to go and learn more about you and your campaign.
Yes, Che, CHE number 4, CA, Che. And here's the thing, I'm a write-in candidate. It's a long story, but I'm a write-in. But the good news is that there's 60 people running, and I'm the only one you have to write in, CHE-AHN. And so as a result of that, I'm getting traction. And we just had an event with 33,000 Gen Zers that our ministry sponsored, and thousands of them gave their lives to Jesus Christ. But most importantly, we also had them registered to vote. And so I'm going after, we have an incredible 500,000 people on our mailing list. And so you never know, this could turn on a dime because, again, with social media today, it's a game changer. It's not like the typical election where you just have to spend millions on commercials. Now we can have someone like me or Spencer Pratt using social media beautifully. He's getting tremendous traction.
Shayon, a pleasure to have you on the show today. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you, Vanessa. It's a great honor.
More resources on Trump RX. New user-friendly elements on the website rolling out to help you save money on prescription drugs. That's next here on My Mornings. Stay with us.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including LINDELLTV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to LINDELLTV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free. Too many pharmacies and insurance companies are blocking the medications that actually work. That's why I recommend All Family Pharmacy. They give you access to treatments like ivermectin now, starting at just $2 a capsule. They also have methylene blue, hydroxychloroquine, and so much more. They're helping you stay prepared, and they've dropped their prices by 25%. Also use promo code LINDELL10, you save even more. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Use promo code LINDELL10 and get the medicine you need.
When you read one news source, you get one side. When you read two sources, you get an argument. Read 40 sources, and you get the truth. LindellReport.com, the only place you ever need to visit for your news. From LINDELLTV, over 40 trusted outlets in one place. No editorial gatekeepers, no hidden bias. Just the day's news. Balanced, unfiltered, ready when you are. Whether you lean left, right, or straight down the middle, this is where you start your day. One click, one feed, one truth. The decision is yours. LindellReport.com. The news you need, the balance you deserve.
Welcome back. President Trump has announced a major expansion of the federal prescription drug platform, TrumpRx.gov. He's adding more than 600 generic medications aimed at lowering costs for Americans.
Today, I'm thrilled to announce that we're increasing the number of drugs available on TrumpRx by nearly 7 times, adding over 600 affordable generics to the website, working with industry partners. Cost-effective generic drugs are often available at just a tiny fraction of the price of their brand name equivalents, and in theory, they're the same thing. Sometimes they're better, with the same dosage, the same effectiveness, and the same active ingredients, yet many consumers do not think to ask for them. They don't know about them. By incorporating this massive catalog of low-cost generics at TrumpRx.gov, consumers will now have one source to ensure that they're getting the lowest possible cost on their prescription. So they have a real option now. Today, they have something that they've never had before. They've never had anything like this or even close. With these additions, TrumpRx will feature the best and lowest prices on prescriptions used by tens of millions of Americans already. And in some cases, the discounted generics available through TrumpRx may be offered at an even lower cash price than the out-of-pocket insurance cost, which has always been the lowest, but we're going to be lower. This means that the TrumpRx.gov should always be your first stop before you go to the pharmacy to pick up your prescription.
And a surprise to many, Mark Cuban was there for the announcement. He was very critical, if you remember, of the president during the campaign, even endorsing Kamala Harris. But now he's backing this initiative.
Thank you for having me, Mr. President. I think other than you, I've been the biggest proponent of TrumpRx.com. And the reason for that is Republicans want cheaper drugs, independents want cheaper drugs, Democrats want cheaper drugs, and together, I think we're going to do something special. What makes Cost Plus Drugs different is that when you click through TrumpRx to our site, not only will you see a great price, but you'll see our actual cost and that we only mark it up 15%. And what makes this incredible, Mr. President, all the volume and all the people that are going to come from the site, as our volumes go up, our costs go down, which means we'll be ending up charging less to people over a period of time. So this is a special announcement. This is a special partnership. 559 of those drugs are ours, so we're really excited to be part of this. Thank you so much for having me.
A reporter asked the president about Mark Cuban standing by his side. After endorsing Kamala, the president joked and said he made a mistake. Mark Cuban says we can all get behind lowering drug price for Americans. As you just heard, he says it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you were on, Democrat or Republican or independent. A little more on Trump RX, taking a look again, TrumpRx.gov will feature more than 600 generic medications. No insurance middleman, which is good news. Patients will be able to compare the best cash prices available. So when you go to the website, you'll be able to see the best cash prices available for you. It's also a central platform for patients to check the best cash price for their medication. So TrumpRx.gov, there's the website right there. Check the price, and it's all for Americans and making sure that Big Pharma does not break the bank. President Trump and his administration making sure they help you save some money when it comes to your prescription drugs. So that was taking place yesterday. Meanwhile, Vice President J.D. Vance, he was in Missouri touting job growth in the state, holding a rally in Kansas City.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are bringing the United States of America back, and it's starting right here in the great state of Missouri. Now, I want to talk about just a few of the things that we've been doing to try to rebuild the United States of America, because I'm 41 years old. And for my entire life, the story of my hometown, the story of great manufacturers like this one, is that they were shedding jobs instead of creating jobs. And that workers were suffering instead of thriving. And that we saw factories in our own hometowns and our own home states closing down instead of rebuilding and adding. And what Donald Trump has done in just 18 months with the support of the great congressional leadership that's here today is that we have made it great to build in the United States of America once again. We're investing in the United States of America once again, and we're investing in American workers. Now that is not an accident, my friends. It didn't happen through accident. It happened through the deliberate decisions of the President of the United States and some of these congressional leaders here today. You ask yourself, how is it that we shocked economists' expectations and we added 123,000 jobs just last month? How is it that we've seen the biggest growth in manufacturing employment last quarter that we have seen in this country since Donald J. Trump was president the first time? How is it that we've seen our construction workers and our manufacturers benefit from this great American economic recovery? And it's simple. We decided to put American businesses and, most importantly, American workers first for a change. We decided to fight for you instead of fight against you, which is what way too many leaders have been doing.
Vance also spoke about the corruption in this country and how the administration is cracking down on fraud. We talked about it earlier, but we are estimated to reach $1 trillion in fraud. When we come back, an act of terror at an Islamic center in San Diego. Gunfire rings out, a scare for children and adults inside the building. What authorities are saying at this hour. Next.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% U.S.-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
America's founders warned that without knowledge and virtue, no nation can remain free. Yet through the steady infiltration of Marxist ideology, we have been stripped of both, and we are no longer a moral and educated people. To save America, we must spark nothing less than a national renaissance. That's why you need Freedom Talk Magazine, the journal of truth and virtue. We cultivate enlightened thinking and principled living, offering unique insights into the issues and remarkable people defining our world. Sign up today for your free subscription to Freedom Talk Magazine and join the new American Renaissance.
You know, most people think water's just about filtration, but in reality, it's about balance. What gets removed, what gets left behind, and how the water actually behaves once you drink it. Well, many traditional systems focus on one thing, removal. Reverse osmosis, for example, strips water down completely. It may sound ideal, but it removes minerals that our bodies need. The Century Wellness System was designed with a different philosophy. It removes common contaminants like chlorine, fluoride, and PFAS while restoring key minerals like magnesium and improving alkalinity. It also does all this without tanks and without wastewater and without requiring a complicated installation. It installs in about 15 minutes under your sink, so instead of overcorrecting, it brings your water back into balance. Please visit CenturyH2O.com and use promo code Lindell for 10% off your next purchase.
Let's see how the markets are opening today. Looking at opening bell numbers from MarketWatch.com, the Dow, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, all down at this hour. Big market drivers today. Inflation worries remain elevated. Oil prices stay high due to Middle East tensions. Treasury yields remain elevated. Semiconductor stocks are under pressure, and investors are also awaiting NVIDIA earnings and also Fed minutes later this week. So a lot going on and to look forward to this week in the stock market. Hopefully things will bounce back very soon. In your news to go, a quick glimpse of other headlines we're following today. A deadly shooting at the Islamic Center in San Diego. 2 teenagers, according to authorities, opened fire outside the mosque yesterday, killing 3 people, including a security guard, before the suspects were later found dead from self-inflicted gunshot wounds. The mosque also houses a school. All children were safely evacuated and reunited with their families. Investigators are looking into anti-Muslim rhetoric and evidence recovered from the suspects' vehicles.
Because of the Islamic Center location, we are considering this a hate crime until it's not.
Authorities say one suspect's mother had contacted police hours before the attack after noticing firearms and a vehicle missing from the home, sparking an earlier search effort. The FBI is now investigating. Looking at the president's schedule for today, it is packed. At 8 o'clock this morning, he held an executive meeting. At 11 a.m. and then again at 3 p.m., he holds policy meetings. At 4:30 this afternoon, he will sign executive orders. Then at 7:15 this evening, he and the First Lady will deliver remarks at the congressional picnic that takes place on the South Lawn. Now tune in at 1 p.m. Eastern. Vice President J.D. Vance will brief the media in the weekly press briefing. For more news headlines, as always, you can go to LINDELLTV.com. You can also download the Lindell TV app. It is free in your app store. Now to our Bible verse of the day, coming from the book of James. The Bible says, "Is anyone among you suffering? Then he must pray. Is anyone cheerful? He is to sing praises." And that'll do it for us here this morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. We leave you today with sights from Arkansas. Have a great day.
Well, hello, everyone. Well, I'm turning 65, and let me tell you, Medicare has me confused. All the junk mail and the robocalls and everything else, it honestly feels like they rigged the system just to confuse us. Well, that's why I partnered and working with Chapter. They're independent, and they don't work for big insurance. They work for us. In fact, they're the only advisor that compares every single plan nationwide to find what actually fits your needs. If you're on the right plan, they tell you. If you're not, they're going to help you switch. And it's completely free. Just last year, seniors saved about $1,100 by finding a better plan with Chapter. So call Chapter at 234-LINDELL or go to askchapter.org/Lindell. Mike Lindell here. The radical left and the deep state aren't just coming for our freedoms, they're coming after our money too. For years, they've been destroying our economy from the inside out with reckless spending, open borders, woke policies that crush our businesses. And now they've left us with an inflation disaster that's wiping out the savings of our hardworking families. They don't want us to be independent. They want us to be dependent on the government. Well, that's not going to happen on my watch. That's why I partner with American Independence Gold. It's a veteran-owned company that's helping patriotic Americans fight back by protecting our savings with real physical gold and silver. And right now, they're giving away up to $15,000 in free silver and a free gold IRA kit. A portion of all the profits go to 9/11 first responders and veterans at the Tunnels to Towers Foundation. The deep state can't touch your gold, so visit MikeLindellGold.com or call 844-714-4653 right now. That's MikeLindellGold.com. Take back control.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% U.S.-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
America's founders warned that without knowledge and virtue, no nation can remain free. Yet through the steady infiltration of Marxist ideology, we have been stripped of both, and we are no longer a moral and educated people. To save America, we must spark nothing less than a national renaissance. That's why you need Freedom Talk Magazine, the journal of truth and virtue. We cultivate enlightened thinking and principled living, offering unique insights into the issues and remarkable people defining our world. Sign up today for your free subscription to Freedom Talk Magazine and join the new American Renaissance.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including LINDELLTV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to LINDELLTV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets.